head, right? I've never ever worked a case like this where someone told me that, never. And so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard. So in talking with Tammy and talking with Dave, I said, what did you feel like when it all went down? When we were there, when we were talking to you guys, and we all kind of, in our own different way and in our own different wording, said it all happened a bit too quick for us, right? So when we saw you last, we were talking about your family, about your parents, about everyone. And then the next thing you know, for me and Tammy and for Dave, all of a sudden some patrol officers came in and arrested you. And that was far quicker than we had hoped it would happen. And you understand why that happened, and we understand why that happened. But it left us with 1,000 questions that we didn't get to ask. And then even more importantly, I think it probably left you with 1,000 things that you didn't get to talk about with us. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but and so that's why we're here today. We wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about everything. I think there's a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about, and so that's why we're here. And it sticks with me that to this day, there's not one person that's told me, I saw it coming. I knew Chris was like that. I knew it. Not one person. So it's interesting to me, right? No, not one. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Some of the people that we work with, your family, Shanann's family, have said, if you get to talk to Chris, would you tell him something for me? So we have that to talk about today, and it's good. I think you'll like it. I think it will give you some closure. And so really that's why we're here. Are you available to talk to us?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So off the bat, if you have any questions, just tell us.
Okay.
If there's something that you don't want to talk about, that's okay. We might press you a little bit. Okay, we might say, well, do you mind if we just maybe then ask one question? Something makes you uncomfortable, just tell us. If we need to take any bathroom breaks, we can take bathroom breaks. For anything like that. And we'll take bathroom breaks and water breaks ourselves too. So then, is there anything about your schedule today that makes it that you can't talk to us?
No, there was like a pass for this and the AM and the PM.
Okay.
They reserve the room the whole day.
Oh, okay.
Just in case.
That's just what they do.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like two separate things or something.
I think you have to go back for lunch to get counted for or something.
Oh.
Accounted for.
Yeah, I think
11:30.
Lunch is like 11, but they count for 1:15.
Okay. So in general, how is it here?
It's a lot different in Colorado.
Is it?
It's
Good or bad?
It's better, I think. It's here. I'm actually around other people. In Colorado, it was just like I was segregated, and it was counting on the walls all night, screaming, and just telling me
From other people? Really?
They're just telling me like how I should kill myself and like what they're gonna do to me and just like all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And it was today. This is a lot different because people here don't seem to. It's not like they don't care, but it's just kind of like they don't like judge you as soon as you walk in. Colorado was like they knew why I was there, and that was it. They were just like if they had 1 second on hold with me, it would have been good. They would.
Gee, man. Must be out then.
Out of like what kind of jail? I don't know what it was like in DOC there, but they had to lock down the jail for me to walk down the hallway.
Wow. And well. Mm-hmm. So then make sure you were completely separated from anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Wow.
Like I didn't see anybody else there. Like I was next to somebody, but like I never saw them.
You just hear them.
How did they know who you were?
I don't know. I just they make phone calls in there too.
Oh, okay.
And they got the newspaper in there before I got in there. So
Yeah. How is have you been able to talk with family?
oh, yeah, definitely. Like we get from 6 p.m. to 7:30. After my unit's time out, so we get used to phone at that point in time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And do they charge you for it? Or?
Oh, it's just like it's like Securus or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how do you make money to pay for that?
They put money on the phone.
Oh.
So if I call, if I was to dial somebody's number, they have to have a phone account set up.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's restricted.
And then so who you call pays for it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. You've been able to talk like family members and parents and all
Yeah,
that?
my mom and dad, my sister.
Okay, good. Is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Good.
Yeah, they don't hear from me. They're like, oh, what's wrong? What's going on?
Oh, good. And how was it with them?
So far, so good.
Yeah. It was hard to hear your parents in sentencing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were gonna say. So,
Yeah. And so, yeah, I really appreciated what they said. I don't know about you.
I definitely was. I didn't expect them to be there. But I know they were there on the 6th, November 6th, but I didn't expect them to fly back, and they wanted to fly back to that. So.
Yeah. And then what your mom said. Yeah. Good. Well, so we have 1,000 questions. I'm sure you do too. Do you care if we start, or do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead. We'll start.
All right. So one of the things that we're battling with is, and I won't make any assumptions today. So, are you aware that this was a national story?
After a little while, it was. I didn't talk to my parents while I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Because, I mean, my attorney team told me, all right, no phone calls, no letters, no nothing.
Okay.
So, like, I made one phone call when I was in the segregation area there, but my dad thought it was like somebody, like a news, somebody trying to call him.
Oh, so he didn't answer?
Yeah, so he didn't answer, but other than that, I didn't talk to anybody, but from what some of the deputies were saying that, or my attorney team coming in and said, this is like, they've got people from Australia, England, and all kinds of people trying to figure out what's going on. So,
Did they send you any of the letters, like fan mail or anything? Well,
I got letters, but I couldn't keep them like with me, so like I could read them like on my hour out. But it's like I got a bunch of just letters that had no return address and stuff that was just not very good letters.
yeah. So, okay. They came from a weird perspective, didn't they? From what we have heard.
Definitely, there was one person, I guess, from Broomfield that was like writing like 4 times a week trying to come visit me, and then there was just a lot of people like writing notes, like bleeding through markers, saying like you're a monster, all kinds of crazy stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some hard issues today, but I don't intend to take you to a dark place today.
Okay.
I hope that when we're done, you'll feel better. I hope it'll be therapeutic. We're going to talk about, obviously, what happened with your family. And so that's going to be hard to talk about. I appreciate anything you can tell me about it. If you need to take time out, if you need to get a tissue, that's fine, right? I think it'll be very good for you. It'll be good for us. And so one of the reasons I asked about that national attention is we were aware that you were getting a lot of letters, a lot of interest, and then us personally as law enforcement, we got so many people who claim to have known you, claim to have been with you, dated you, slept with you, and 99 times out of 100 they were just crazy people, right? And so maybe that's a good place to start. Had you heard about any of that?
John Walsh told me about some dude from Wyoming.
Yeah.
Trent?
Yeah, that guy. That blew my mind. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
And who told you about that?
Attorney John Walsh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk about him?
Yeah.
Graham and I interviewed him.
You had to?
Yes.
Way out of our lives.
Yes.
So Trent, in summary, Trent came in and said, met you online on a dating app, had a few, casual but quick sexual encounters with you. And let me be very clear. Not only are we not here to DM you up today, we're also not here to judge you. And if there is anything like that, you can imagine we've heard way worse, way different, So if it's true, I hope that you can just casually say, this happened. It wasn't as bad as he said, but maybe this happened. So his story was met online, met you, and it was a time when you were experimenting with maybe men. And so he said he met a couple times, met his friends, went to an apartment, had a couple of meetings in the parking lot, and that was basically it. Any of that sound familiar? Okay.
No, I never met the guy.
Okay. All right.
And he talked about being in your truck with your girls, like the whole 9 yards. So.
I've never even been to Wyoming, let alone driven up there to see someone.
Yeah. And so this is maybe a weird question for you. Do you have any gay experience?
No.
Okay. Any interest?
No.
Okay. Never had a time experimented and wondered?
No.
Okay. Is it possible that he found you instead of you finding him?
From what John told me, he just found me on like a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I don't even have that app.
Okay.
I mean, he has my phone, so
Okay.
you could probably saw what app I had. But I've never even heard of the app, but
Okay.
apparently, like, he told me, like, I met him through, like, a rehab center or something.
The first sound anyone remembers is not a scream. It is a knock, measured, polite, almost hesitant. A police officer standing at the door of a quiet Colorado home, unaware that inside this house, an entire family has already been erased. The man who opens that door appears calm, cooperative, and strangely composed. His name is Chris Watts, and within days, the image he presents will shatter into something far more disturbing. Years later, behind reinforced glass and locked steel doors, that same man chooses to speak again. Not under interrogation, not under threat, but by choice. In prison interviews and recorded statements, Chris Watts breaks a silence that once protected him. What he says now is not shouted. It is not emotional. It is delivered in the same flat, controlled cadence that once convinced the world he was a worried husband. And that is what makes it terrifying. Because when Watts speaks from prison, he does not sound haunted. He sounds analytical, detached, as if describing someone else's crime.
Is that what he said?
No, that was another guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally, no idea.
So did you see a picture of him on the news or anything?
John showed me a picture of him.
Okay.
He was like, oh, this guy? I'm like, now it's kind of, making fun of, like, you know, sure. I'm like, no.
So you saw it and you were like, no way.
Yeah, I was just
Big lips. Did you see his giant lips?
Yeah, just like, I have no clue.
And he's somewhat memorable. I mean,
Yeah.
If you met him or talked to him or got to know him, you might remember. He was kind of meek,
Yeah.
but also a little bit flamboyant. Yeah, he did fake lip, or not fake lips, but injections. He was very into skincare and makeup. And he mentioned that one of the times, just as a gift, you got him some skincare products. Any of that sound familiar?
No.
Okay. You can imagine all the stuff we're dealing with. Okay, so that's one. Trent Bolds. There was another gal that you were dealing with.
Amanda McMahon. Have you ever heard that name? No.
John showed me a picture of her.
Okay.
Oh, you did see a picture of her too?
Yeah, he had like. That's the same.
True side. Does that look familiar?
That's the same picture he showed me on the
Okay.
in my soul. I was looking, I was like, who's that? He's like, oh, you don't know her either?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
He said it was like a Chick-fil-A parking lot rendezvous or something.
Right.
That's just not true.
That's what she's claiming.
Okay.
Only went to one Chick-fil-A in Colorado. That was the one in Broomfield, Highway 7.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable enough today to tell us if there were other people?
Yeah, it was just Nichol.
Okay. And that was it? Okay. As these people have come out, for the most part, we've not given their stories much credit. They're just crazy people who want attention. And so, but when that does happen, it does make us think, there may have been others. And so Nicole was the only one.
That was the only one.
Was there ever like a one-night stand with someone else just out of the blue and one and done?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you mind if we talk a little bit more about Nicole? So walk me through it, because that was one of the things we never really got to ask you about.
Right. We didn't
Just
talk.
kind of skipped on and talked about where the girls were. But so what happened there?
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that we were out in the field, and I was messing up. And then I took it to her like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? And after that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office. And I think it was probably the fourth time meeting. She had asked me, because like when we were talking back and forth, I would say. Like we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that, and then she's like, "What's all this weed stuff?" I'm like, I took out my phone and showed her a picture, like my girl's on my phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "See," I'm like, "Yeah," but, I didn't wear a ring to work because I got something else to get refitted when I lost all that weight. So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
Yeah, it was literally like I was out in the snow one time. I went like that. And my ring went off on the rocks. So I was panicking trying to find out like, hey, where is it? But so after that, she left me alone for a couple days, and she texted me outside in the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth, and it was just just like she used to work in a oil rig out in North Dakota, I think. And we just kind of trading stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And then one day it just kind of went to a different level. And then I never thought I would ever go to that level. But she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. Yeah, we go to San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June. And we met up after we got back. And
How did you guys meet up?
at a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And after that, we just kept seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
So let me ask you this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You strike me as somewhat of a shy person. So when you guys were meeting, it was just kind of very initiatory, like flirting at first? Okay. From both sides?
Yeah, it was just kind of like feeling each other out. It's kind of like,
Yeah. And so, texts, any calls?
more near the end of June,
Okay. And what makes you remember that it's June that it happened?
because we called each other before I left to go to San Diego.
Oh, okay. Alright. At first, did you think something might happen?
I just thought it was just flirting. I didn't think it was actually like something that would actually happen.
Yeah. Well, it's totally natural, right? I mean, everyone kind of flirts at work, right? Because the relationship between men and women is different. So if you're working with a girl at work, it's just kind of natural to flirt.
I wish I was out in the field when I went to the office.
Yeah. You gotta see it in your eyes. That's kind of where the path started, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, because when I went from like a rover to a field coordinator, like I would spend more time in the morning time in the office trying to get everything like situated where we're going to go, everything like that. If I was a rover, I'd be more out in the field and instead of like coming to the office like for more than an hour.
Right.
It just gave me more time to run into her, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. What did she know about you? Did she know you were married at first?
She did once I showed her the pictures on the phone. Yeah, like the home screen picture and everything.
So was your wife in that picture, or was it just your girls?
It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh.
So she knew I was married with my kids.
Okay.
Are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married? What did you think about that?
I figured it was like just trying to save face, trying to just trying to. Something my sister said, it was like just trying to keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying. She phrased it a different way, but just kind of like just like ground control, just trying to control everything that's going on around her. Because I'm sure she got bombarded by all kind of different sides from the media and everything. So.
Have you talked to her at all? No.
I'm hoping she hasn't written me in a different alias or something. I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh.
And are you not allowed to talk to her?
I would hope that.
Okay. No one's told you that, though?
No, I mean, I would expect I thought in Colorado it said a DOC list of if you're on a victim list, you can't call anybody.
Oh, right.
But here, I'm not sure if that's the same. But I've just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents. Okay.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once, just to
get some closure?
Just to say hey, just once.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened afterwards. What you went through. If you had counseling. If you're different state. If you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry. And that's not something that's not happening or happening to somebody else either.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
You want us to, you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, I'm not sure if someone comes up. I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than return a phone call that she didn't want to go and answer. Yeah.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. They left a business card there.
He revisits moments that destroyed lives with unsettling calm, offering explanations that feel incomplete, rehearsed, and sometimes self-serving. Each word invites a deeper question, not just about what happened, but about who he was long before the murders. This is not a story about a confession. It is a story about what confession cannot fix, about a man who constructed a version of himself so convincing that even those closest to him never saw the cracks. A man who now claims clarity, faith, and remorse, while the truth remains fractured. As this prison interview unfolds, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Some killers are not driven by rage or chaos, but by silence, suppression, and emotional vacancy. And when they finally speak, they don't reveal answers. They reveal how carefully they hid them. Before we go further into what Chris Watts says now, it's important to understand who he was then, and how a seemingly invisible man became one of the most disturbing figures in modern true crime. If you want to continue unraveling the psychology, the lies, and the silence surrounding this case, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications. Because what comes next exposes the man behind the mask, and the warning signs no one saw.
It's just like, did she have to leave? Like, did she have to do anything at work? That was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did she mean?
Like in the oil company in the dark, I was like, you know, I mean, unless you're working for like BP or like kind of Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And the dark, I was like, you know,
Big leagues.
yeah.
Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her. Okay. Tell us about the time spent with her.
But I mean, it felt like it was, you know, I think like when you said like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, you know, trying to pursue, because like when me and Shanann met, it was like, you know, she was always like pushing me away, kind of like, you know.
She was sick for a while, right?
Oh yeah, she had just got diagnosed with lupus, and she was on like a bunch of different medications and stuff, and it was like, I guess I was not her type. And
You weren't her type?
I wasn't her type, because like she told me like when she first, because we had met.
She told you that?
Yeah.
You're not.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was like, you know, when we first met, like, it was at a movie theater. My cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I
think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, that.
They weren't having any games?
So she was fancy and he was in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
Shoes and, like, I should have known the doorman, you know, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. And, like,
Was it the theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
It was
Kinda?
in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter, and apparently they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he
movie
came. I think he came like he was going to a
Like I was
Cinemax, like
like I was going to a pond.
like an AMC.
Like a play theater.
No, it was like you like we just watched a normal movie, but it was like you can like drink champagne and like have like, you know, a Jack and Coke inside the theater and just sit there and just whatever. But like yeah, when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. Like, no, I'm not here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent, trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on our first date, like I couldn't even eat anything. Really, I was just like, you know,
You're so nervous?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she was just like, you know, chowing down. And she was like, you're like a bird. I'm like, oh, and she taught my parents, like, you know, months later, she was like, this guy just never ate. Like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. This trash disposal. I was like, no, not around me. I was like, well, I'm just nervous. And I was just like, I was always like shaking and everything. But yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like finally I grew onto her. Like, you know, I would always like with her medications and stuff, I would always like, she had like 8 bottles of medications, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little, you know, flip open and pill box, yeah, all that kind of stuff. And And I would always, be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. She said after that she knew that was like kind of a keeper. It's like, who goes to a colonoscopy after 3 months with somebody?
Right.
It's a little soon.
Well, she asked if she needed a ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go across the colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. Like, I even sat with her while she drank that nasty stuff all day.
Yeah.
Oh. Or she's in the bathroom
That's
all
a good
day.
test.
that clear stuff that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kessinger?
No, with Shanann, and like the first year, my parents never. I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
What?
I was the baby, I guess. I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never really saw me like.
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because I now turned 18. I graduated. I never moved back.
Okay.
At home. So my sister moved back and forth all the time. So
How old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So
Okay.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
nothing more than like 6 months or so. Yeah, there was some girls here and there, but just nothing more than the last girlfriend I had before Shanann, she was just actually got divorced, and I should never done that. But it was more of like I was kind of like helping her get through her divorce. It seemed like she went on to somebody else. I'm like, oh, nice to know.
You're the rebound guy?
The rebound guy.
Pretty much, but that's how it goes.
Would you say that in your relationships with women, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems to me like you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type.
Yeah.
And like Shanann usually made all the decisions. It seemed like so.
I get that. I'm the same. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So then, and I know it's hard to keep bouncing back and forth, but and one of the reasons we're here is we just keep telling ourselves, Chris just does not fit the mold. Chris is not.
No.
Like it just blows us away what happened, right? And so we will do a little bit of bouncing back and forth, and that's really just to get to know you a little bit better. We never really got that chance, did we? We were talking
Twice.
Yeah.
Met you once.
Yeah.
Probably like you remember 3 or 4 times probably.
So then do you call her Nikki or Nicole?
I would call her Nikki.
Okay.
I know there's so many Nickies and Nicoles in this.
Right, there is.
I got confused.
So we'll call her Nikki. So then with Nikki, was it different?
It just seemed like I was more in control, it seemed like. And that never happened. Like she'd actually ask me my opinion on a lot of things and just what I wanted to do and just kind of okay.
That was new, wasn't it?
Very new.
That's fascinating to me. And so did it feel more like an equal partnership or?
It seemed like it.
Yeah. Okay. So then when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere? Or would she say, I want to go somewhere? Was it too fast?
The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, off the 144th over there, and I asked her, hey, you want to go see this movie? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And we got there, it was sold out, and, normally we'd probably just have, just wait 2 hours, not just go home, but not, she just wanted to walk around and just talk. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that was different, and, I think she wanted to go to the car museum, the Shelby Museum in Boulder. I've never been there. And
That's right up your alley.
Oh, yeah. I was just that was awesome, just to walk around cars for an hour or so. And then, drag race in Vandermeer.
Okay.
I haven't been to a drag race since 2008. That was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Looked at a drag strip over there. Just the NHRA, the Top Fuel, fun car stuff. Me and my dad used to grow up.
Yeah.
Go there all the time. And then went to camping in Sand Dunes National Park. And I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it. Thought it was done it countless times.
Oh, really? Okay. She's outdoorsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess every time like she needed to clear her head, she'd just go by herself. Just go somewhere else. Yeah.
But she's a completely new type of person in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long before his name became synonymous with betrayal, Chris Watts lived a life defined by invisibility. He was not loud. He was not dominant. He did not draw attention to himself. Friends and co-workers described him as dependable, quiet, almost painfully ordinary. He worked long hours, followed routines, avoided conflict, and rarely expressed strong emotion. In many ways, he was the kind of man people stop noticing because he never gives them a reason to look closer. Shanann Watts, by contrast, lived loudly and openly. She documented her life with precision and pride. Her marriage, her children, her ambitions, and her struggles. She was driven, expressive, and deeply invested in building a future she could control after years of personal hardship. Together, they appeared to balance each other. Her energy filled the spaces he left empty. His calm steadied the storms she sometimes carried. To outsiders, they looked like proof that opposites could create harmony. But beneath that surface, pressure quietly accumulated. Financial strain loomed behind curated smiles. Medical anxieties, career instability, and mounting debt added weight to an already fragile foundation. Shanann believed in communication and visibility, while Chris retreated inward. Each disagreement ended not with resolution, but with silence. Each unmet expectation became another thing he buried rather than confronted. Psychologists would later note that this dynamic created a dangerous imbalance. Chris learned to disappear emotionally while still performing the role expected of him. He did not argue. He did not protest. He complied. And over time, compliance hardened into resentment. Not explosive resentment, but cold, quiet resentment that fed on repression. The family's life was meticulously recorded, but the most important truth never made it onto the screen. Chris Watts was not learning how to cope. He was learning how to detach. And detachment, when left unchecked, does not simply fade away. It evolves. This is the foundation that matters. Not just the marriage, but the pattern. A man who avoided conflict at all costs. A man who chose silence over honesty. A man whose calm exterior masked a growing internal fracture that no one thought to question. Because the most dangerous transformations don't announce themselves. They happen slowly, behind closed doors, while everything still looks normal.
All right. What were you thinking this whole time?
In the back of my head, I was just telling myself, what are you doing? Like, every time, I'd open up my phone, I could see pictures, like, of my wife and my kids, and just like, what am I doing? And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like a blinder that was in my face.
Oh.
And it just, like, every time I look back on it, like, like, I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself. And, like, every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say, like I have, like, this book I used to read for CC, and I remember that book, so I read that to them, like, every night. And, like, there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them, so I just try to think back, like, I wish this never happened. And it's like, I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, right in my eyes, that would have seen what was going on. Like, I was having, everybody says, oh, you're just out there having fun while your kids, or kids and wife are on vacation. I'm just like, no, it wasn't like that, but it seemed like that's what it looks like when you're going, you're going to camping, you're going to drag race, going all the other stuff that you have fun doing, but you're with somebody else. It's not your family. It just didn't seem right. And, with her, it just didn't seem like I could see that anymore. And I was there at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about anything. Because literally I didn't, I was only at home from, like, when I got home from work. I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over her house. Like, I never slept in my house in, like, the whole month of July.
Now, talk me through that though. When you said you went home and then you were at her house, was that while Shanann was gone? Oh, okay. So you weren't even at your house.
No.
This all happened so quickly, didn't it?
It was insane quickly. Like I didn't like. She even told me like she would never, in like a normal relationship, she would never have somebody over at her house like more than like once or twice a week. But she felt like she wanted me over there.
Yeah.
She said she felt comfortable over there.
Yeah.
So it was just like that's what was different. Like she wanted me over there. But I just wish that all that would just go away. I just wish I almost like I know it's hard to, I know it's wrong to say I wish I never met somebody, but I wish I, maybe met her at work and then just kept it that way.
I think if we had a time machine, I don't think this would happen again. Because some people, when this happens, you're like, well, if it wasn't this time, it would have been next time, or it wouldn't have been the next time. It just wouldn't have happened with you, would it? It happened so quickly that you tell me if I'm wrong. You're not the type of guy to take control sometimes when you need to. Yeah, it seems like this is what happened.
Yeah, I didn't take control of the situation. It's just like the situation controlled me.
Right, it just happened. No, I get that, man. I'm somewhat passive myself, and it's like, there's situations that I'm like, oh, why did I let that keep going?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching and taking on, and just never let me get up.
Yeah. Can we talk about the hardest subject? So when we were talking, the last time we talked, about was where the girls were. But we never really got to talk about that night. So what happened?
So nothing really happened that night. It was in the morning. It was, me and Shanann, she got home like at 2 o'clock. And, I felt her get into bed. And I just felt like I didn't feel like I just made sure I looked at my phone at 2 o'clock and make sure she's okay, she's in there. And I could kind of feel her kind of staring around a little bit. And, I just had a feeling that she knew like what was going on. I mean, obviously, I didn't use like an NRL gift card, that I got, and I used my actual credit card. And I kind of just felt like she knew what was going on, and she started rubbing her hand on me, and we ended up having sex. But I guess that was more like a test.
Oh,
I would have thought.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because when we talked, when I woke up later on in the morning, I pretty much, told her, I didn't think it was going to work anymore. And she was like, what happened? What was last night,
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that's the test after I've gone through everything in my head.
That makes sense.
And she just told me, to get off of her. And she was like, I knew there was somebody else, I knew there was somebody else, I knew there was somebody else. I couldn't just say, yes, there is somebody else, but then she said, you're never going to see the kid again.
As the weeks passed, that internal fracture began to show subtle signs, small enough to be dismissed, yet significant in hindsight. Chris Watts started changing in ways that were easy to rationalize if you weren't looking for them. He lost weight rapidly, presenting it as discipline and self-improvement. He became more attentive to his appearance, more structured in his routines, more focused on control. On the surface, it looked like growth. Underneath, it was detachment taking shape. His emotional distance deepened. Messages grew shorter, affection faded, presence became physical rather than emotional. To Shanann, it felt like something was slipping away, but she couldn't name it. She tried to pull him closer through communication, through reassurance, through plans for the future. Each attempt only widened the gap. Where she leaned in, he pulled back. Where she asked questions, he offered silence. This pattern is critical to understanding what came next. Behavioral experts often point out that withdrawal is not neutral. It is active avoidance. Chris was no longer participating in the life he had built. He was observing it from a distance, as if preparing for an exit he hadn't yet admitted to, himself. The more he detached, the easier it became to imagine a version of life without responsibility, without conflict, without the weight of expectations. Outside the home, a different version of Chris began to emerge, one that felt seen, validated, and unburdened. The contrast between his internal world and his external obligations became sharper, more intoxicating, and with that contrast came a dangerous shift in thinking. Instead of confronting problems, he began mentally erasing them. This is where red flags become clear in retrospect. Not anger, not violence, but emotional erasure. The quiet rewriting of reality in his mind, where obligations became obstacles and people became barriers to a desired outcome. If this analysis is helping you see the case in a deeper way, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Shadow of Deceit. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter, where we uncover how this detachment crossed an irreversible line.
Never gonna see them again. Get off me. Don't hurt me. And then,
Is that what you said?
so just like when I climbed in bed, that was pretty much like on top, pretty much like straddling her.
Okay.
And she thought I was gonna like, you know, hurt her or her baby or something. So, because she knew that, like, you know, something had happened. She thought I was just trying to, you know, just check out or something. So, and then that's when it happened.
I know it's hard, but mind if we talk to the tiny bit deeper about that? So she comes home, you know, she touches him, you guys have sex, it seems like she's doing her test, which I understand. Sounds like you do too.
I'm sure, like, you know, Nikki or something, Cole Atkinson or Cassie probably told her, you know,
That's what I was thinking, right? They talked about it during that whole weekend.
more than likely. That's my parents told me there was like a, going through like text messages, it's like all, like, pretty much, they all kind of just told her it's with somebody else type of deal.
Yeah. And she spent a lot of time with the gals. That's what they do probably all weekend is talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes home, you guys have sex, and then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point, does she wake you up or did you wake up for work?
A lot more.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out. But then that's when she started talking, wanted to talk more. She was pretty mad.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I already kind of knew that. You know, using that credit card, it was kind of, it was,
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh,
Like, you know, I used, like, because I got Darko gift cards from, like, you know, doing good stuff at work and stuff like that. And I'd use them all.
oh. Was part of you just like, ah, screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nick, you can pay for this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Even I think my attorney said she even knows I used a different card, like a blue card. Maybe she thought, you know, like I felt comfortable enough just using a normal bank account or something. But you know, I told her I was going to Rocky, and I told you I was going to Rocky.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know, it felt like, you know, like looking back at everything, like just like reading the scripture more and more now, I can see, like, you know, God gave me opportunities to get at it. Like even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because like it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on that Saturday night. And he was like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game, you want to go with me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals? Like, in my mind, it was like, you know, go. Just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki?
Yeah. And maybe that would have been like, you know, like light switch just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last, like, opportunity.